Here at this church in South El Monte, California, every night at 7 p.m. there's a Catholic Mass, but tonight they're doing something a little bit different. So, Lucy, this is you?
Yes, it is.
In March of 2017, I met Lucy Boutte, who worked for the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. Part of her job was training parishioners how not to get deported by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE.
And so my Spanish is not very good, but I think the translation here is prepare your family for an encounter with immigration.
Correct.
So that's what's happening here tonight.
That's what's happening here tonight.
Lucy was at this church to supervise a skit acted out by parishioners, teaching them how to respond when confronted by ICE in their homes.
Open the door. This is ICE.
How many people are at risk of an encounter with ICE?
Anybody that looks like this is at risk.
That's a lot of people in Los Angeles.
Tell me about it, yes.
The Archdiocese began this outreach in response to Donald Trump's harsh rhetoric on immigration.
Tell me the how. Are you going to have a massive deportation force?
You're going to have a deportation force, and you're going to do it humanely.
After the skit, I met Anna, a U.S. citizen like her 3 younger sisters, who was there because their parents were undocumented.
You're 13. Why'd you show up here?
It's difficult to picture a life without your life. You know, my mom and dad have always been here for me, and they're literally the world to me, and I wouldn't like to imagine a world without them.
You came here tonight to learn what?
To learn what happens when someone gets deported and how to hide or talk your way out of it, you know.
Do you guys go to school here?
Yeah.
Right here.
3 days after meeting Anna, she invited me back to their neighborhood to meet her undocumented mom and U.S. citizen sisters. In a county with over 1 million undocumented people, one of the things driving fear were rumors of roadside checkpoints run by ICE.
The checkpoint is like 2 street lights from here.
Up that way.
Yeah.
And so what does that do? Like, how do people feel? What are people saying?
We don't come out. That's why we're kind of, you know, in our shells.
You stay home.
Yeah. Stay home.
This month, April of 2021, I went back to visit Anna and her mom and to see how their family's doing 4 years later.
Oh my God. Is your graduation photo?
Yeah.
With a new president.
Last time, I guess, I was with you was 4 years and a month ago.
4 years and a month ago.
And you were 13?
I was 13 in 8th grade.
In 8th grade?
Yeah.
And you had braces?
And I had braces, and I was like 5'2", I don't know.
It was a crazy time because you were 13, and I think Donald Trump had just become the president.
Oh, yeah. 8th grade.
You said, oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you remember about it?
Recuerdo que en ese tiempo había muchas expectativas.
Yeah, there was a lot of tension. We remember that there was a lot of tension on the streets, like not really anybody wanted to be outside. She feels comfortable now with our new president, and they feel more secure growing us up in this environment.
Do you feel safer today than you did back then when I first met you guys?
¿Te sientes más?
Definitivamente sí.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Anna's mom is less fearful than during Donald Trump's presidency, but between the pandemic and the economic impact of lockdown, the past year has been hard for their family.
We don't get the economic help most people do during these times.
Because you don't have status, you're undocumented.
Yeah.
And so you can't get help from the federal government, no money like everybody else is getting. You weren't able to get a lot of the benefits that everybody else got. Even though you're a hardworking family, you got American kids, it wasn't an easy year.
Not at all. We just kept on working like usual. Life has been the same. We're just struggling right now.
It's been hard for everybody. It sounds like it's been extra hard for you guys.
Emotionally, economically. Thankfully, our family's like still intact, even closer together.
This year began with a lot of hope for Anna's family after President Biden, on the first day of his presidency, vowed to support a pathway to citizenship for America's 11 million undocumented residents.
Order I'm signing is restoring the faith in our legal immigration system and strengthening immigration and inclusion efforts for new Americans.
But then came the political controversy over a record increase in unaccompanied minors seeking asylum at the border. In part a seasonal trend, in part a response to perceived changes in U.S. policy. Immediately after President Biden took office, Republicans blamed the president.
And it is the direct consequence of policy decisions by the Biden administration to stop building the wall, to return to catch and release, and to end the stay in Mexico policy.
Are you worried that what's happening there, which is so different from the situation that you're in, that it might affect your chance at citizenship?
We think that now maybe it will affect her chances of getting citizenship because Biden is going to be probably focusing on the problems at the border instead of focusing on those who have been here situated for a long time inside of the United States.
Anna's parents, like most of the 11 million undocumented U.S. residents, entered the country by evading detection. Now most people who arrive at the border attempt to enter differently. They actually want to turn themselves in so they can declare asylum. But often the forces driving them are the same: economic ruin. For years, hunger and poverty caused by climate extremes has been intensifying, driving Central Americans to the U.S. In 2019, the World Food Program took us to a village in remote Guatemala where they were feeding school kids whose parents could no longer grow their cash crops nor buy supplementary nutrition.
So every one of these kids that's raising their hand right now knows somebody who's left to go to the United States because they couldn't survive here. Who do you know that went to the United States?
Mi papá.
Papa. What's he doing there now?
En el hospital de los pies.
Cleaning. He's cleaning. So her dad's in the U.S. cleaning. Do you want to go there or do you want to stay here?
¿Te quisieras ir con él o mejor aquí, con tu mamá?
Aquí. She wants to stay.
Now, the World Food Program says conditions are worsening.
This was a watermelon.
Complicating President Biden's immigration agenda.
And now you think the current controversy might distract from helping people who have lived here for years, if not decades, just like you.
Yeah, it might affect, I think. Yeah.
From their house, Anna and her mom and one of her younger sisters walked us to where their dad works.
We're lucky to have him at a walking distance.
Anna's dad, Saul, is an auto mechanic and has been in the U.S. even longer than his wife, over 30 years. He hasn't been back to Mexico since Anna was born.
We would like to go, but you can't go because
to cross the border.
It's hard.
So if you left, the only way to come back in is to cross the border with a coyote or something like that?
Yeah, but it's smuggler. They call it smugglers.
Smugglers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One thing I don't think a lot of people think about is that what you're describing, Sel, is another kind of family separation. Because if you went home, you would risk being separated from your daughters, maybe the rest of your life.
That's true, you know?
I don't think a lot of people think about immigration reform in this way, but hearing you describe it, if immigration reform passed, it would end another form of potential family separation forever. If you became a citizen, you'd never be faced with the
threat.
The threat?
Not seeing your family again.
It's not just me, it's a lot of people, you know. It's a lot of people that I know that maybe had 20, 15 years, but they are working here, you know, like I say, washing my hands, you know.
Yeah. These hands have probably fixed a lot of cars.
Yeah.
For all that hard work, for all the cars that you fixed with those hands, you still find yourself in a situation where one day your family could be separated from each other.
Maybe we deserve something, you know, like have good status here, you know.
Because his hands look like that, mine can look like this.
That's amazing.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.